Yeah, so we wanted to bring up a few topics and know whether there's an overreaction or an underreaction happening to them right now. So they could be any number of things that are going on in the comments section, going on Twitter. Uh, Hot takes galore are all over the place. So we figured we'd try to bring some levity to the situation, whatever it is, with a topic. So the first one, and I'll ask you, Ian, and then I'll give my take on it. Uh, Whether we are underreacting or overreacting to William Nylander's defensive play.
I think we overreact to everything William Nylander related in this market. I think William Nylander could sneeze. We'd probably overreact to it. There's a lot of micro analysis whenever it comes to players in Toronto. I think William Nylander is what he was a couple of years ago, is what he is now in terms of he's an elite transition player with the puck on his stick. He picks it up in the defensive zone. He gets you an exit and an entry automatically. There aren't many players in the league who are as confident with the puck on his stick as he is. And I think he's way better in neutral zone defense than we tend to give him credit for. He's among the leaders in neutral zone takeaways per 60 every year. But you're going to bring up some defensive issues that I can understand why people get frustrated with him for. So I'll just let you go on your rant here. You probably think we're underreacting to it.
I do think we're underreacting. And I'll say why, because this should honestly be the bottom line. And I really hope I can articulate this in a way that at least it's understandable. But the bottom line is the Leafs don't give Nylander a ton of ice time. He's almost always playing under the 17-minute mark. The only reason he hit over that the last game is because he started in overtime. I'm not even going to discuss that. And the reason that he doesn't play as much as his talent suggests as he should defensively, you might not like if I point something out about him, but the Leafs don't trust him defensively. They often look to shelter him. They've been looking to defensive zone as much as they can. And, to some degree, like it is a little bit of an indictment on his play. He's going to score. He's a good player. Like you can't argue otherwise. But for $7 million, it'd be a little bit nicer if they could trust him in some defensive situations. They never let him touch the ice in the final 2 minutes of a 1-goal lead they're protecting.
And you can see that on those graphs that I like to pull up on kind of player deployment and high leverage situations offensively and defensively. High leverage situations definitely using him because he's
as they should
an elite offensive player.
Yeah. He has
he's
a
an
great
elite
shot.
Transition player as well. Defense is one of those things where if you're looking at shots against and scoring chances against, William Nylander shows up well in those metrics because his team tends to have the puck when he's on the too. I think there's specific examples maybe on back checks. We look at the Leon Draisaitl example. What are you specifically referring to? Because the coaches clearly see it too if they're not playing him late in the game where they're holding a 1-goal lead. So what is it that he's doing wrong?
So a really good example came up when Johnny Gaudreau scored against the Leafs at even strength. And there was a puck that bounced to the top of the circle and Nylander and Monahan raced for it. And it was a quick play, but Nylander tried to one-hand the puck by Sean Monahan, he's a good player. I'm not going to say he's a lead or anything, but he's a legitimately good player.
Top 6 NHL forward.
Yeah, right? Like he's solid. And that's not really the kind of guy that you're like, am I going to one-handed skate and try to poke the puck around this guy for a 3-on-2 the other way? Like I get what he's trying to do. Of course, it didn't work. Monahan stopped the puck, took a shot on net, and Gaudreau put the rebound in. And that kind of started that Calgary comeback after that really good first period the Leafs had, probably their best period of the season so far. And like, there's just all sorts of bad habits there. Like, doesn't put his body on the play, doesn't use two hands on his stick. He doesn't stop on the puck. I had pointed out the Draisaitl thing, like a very simple example. Like, it's not even a subjective opinion at this point, just objective. Like, Draisaitl's skating down the wing. You're missing Matthews. You're like, I'm going to start one of my other big guys for once because Matthews isn't in. And he doesn't put his body on him. And he goes by. And I know
is
that
Nylander ever going to be a player who puts his body on a guy just based on his play style, based on everything we've seen over the last few years? I don't think we can expect him to be a physical presence, despite the fact that I think he's a lot stronger than people realize when you look at
I think so too.
The way that he put on after his rookie year.
I think he needs to have a bit more of a sense of occasion. I don't ever expect him to put his body on guys, but in those kind of situations, like you have to identify, like you have to know when you get on the ice. You're like, that's Sean Monahan with Johnny Gaudreau. Like, I need to be sure. That's, Leon Draisaitl. Like, there's certain players where you have to kind of sit there and be like those are the other team's really good players. Like, I can't be as soft on them as I would the other players. But like I know that he's gonna get like I know that he like his high up on the team in takeovers and all that. Like none of that's lost on me, but he's often doing it praying against third lines. And the Leafs know it. So they shelter him. I would just like to see a little bit more out of him because I'd like him to be playing like 18 minutes a night. And I'm sure the Leafs would too, but they don't trust him.
I just want to let you know that he leads Toronto forwards in shot share, 5-on-5. The Leafs have the puck when he's on the ice. He's getting it into the offensive zone. So
Where does he rank on the team in offensive zone starts?
we know that offensive zone starts don't impact your 5-on-5 results to the degree that people think they do. People think that you get a few offensive zone starts and you should be dominating every single metric. That's not how it works.
No, of course not. But it does help play it. Like his
Helps a
shifts
little
are
bit.
always tilted.
It does, but you start something like 60% of your shifts on the fly. So I mean, most players are starting their shifts on the fly.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always get frustrated when people bring up zone season to, oh, well, he starts a few of his shifts defensive zone. So it makes sense that he's getting completely killed in the shot and scoring chance
I
department. That's usually just a way of explaining away bad results. I'm never a fan.
she middle an area where like you could take it or leave it the other way. But then there's a bit more of if you're starting a ton, like it is going to impact your numbers. And he's leaning towards the other side. Like if you're starting a ton in the offensive zone, like he's kind of shading to that side of things. Like it is going to impact his numbers. And if he's playing against weaker players, which he generally is, like he should be running them over.
Okay.
And then I guess the bigger problem would be you'd have a problem with the coaching staff because they obviously don't trust him either.
I think Anthony is overreacting to William Nylander's defense.